So what can you tell us about where the price cap on Russian oil stands and what that price might be?
So, Sarah, I can't tell you anything about the price because, as we've said previously, it's going to be set by the coalition of countries that are part of the price cap. And what we are doing is we're working closely with them at the moment to make sure that we have done the analysis that's needed to make sure that we set that price appropriately, given our two overarching objectives. One, which is make sure that Russian oil continues to flow, and the second one is to try and deny Russia of revenues, especially the revenues they have made because of the war that they started in Ukraine. We've already seen this strategy be effective. Russian oil continues to flow today, and we've seen and heard from our allies and partners that Russia is offering discounts to countries in order to sign long-term contracts in anticipation of the price cap coming into effect. As you know, Europe has decided to no longer purchase Russian oil as of December 5th. They've also said that as of December 5th, European services can't be used for the transportation of Russian oil. And Europe and the UK provide 90% of the world's insurance for the shipping of oil. The price cap actually creates an exception to that, saying that now you can use Western services for the transportation of Russian oil, as long as it's below that price cap.
But we've seen China and India step up their purchases, and you mentioned that oil is still flowing. I'm wondering, you've been leading a lot of the portfolio around sanctions on Russia. Is it working as you expected? Is it devastating enough? Because this war is still ongoing.
And I think the thing that we're doing with sanctions is it's part of an overarching foreign policy strategy. And part of that strategy is diplomacy, but another part is providing the Ukrainians with the weapons they're using to defend themselves in Ukraine. At the same time that Ukraine is getting those weapons, we're using sanctions to deny Russia the ability to purchase the weapons that they need and to build the weapons that they need. One of the things that we learned from COVID-19 was about the vulnerability of supply chains. And Russia's military industrialized complex has a very vulnerable supply chain that we went after. Part of that has been denying them the ability to get access to the most complicated semiconductors, the ones that go into the building of their precision missiles and some of their tanks and other
that's hurting them.
And you're seeing that they're unable to build those things today because they don't have access to that. So that's one element, going after their military industrialized complex. The second element is going after their revenue, the money they're making to pay for this war. And that's where the price cap comes in. And our goal here is not to stop China or India from buying Russian oil. It's to make sure that any country that buys Russian oil going forward is paying Russia far less for it, so that Russia has less money, but we have oil on the global market.
What more is there to be done on the sanctions front?
A big piece of this is continue to go after their military industrialized complex, because what Russia is doing is that as they see that we're cutting off access to supplies they need, they're building new networks. And a big piece for us is making sure that we cut off those networks as they rebuild them. Russia is very good at evading sanctions. They've been doing it for decades. So a goal for us, and part of my conversations in Europe, are going to be around what can we do to make sure that we take additional steps to stop evasion.
So which is a bigger risk? The Europeans lose appetite for supporting Ukraine because they're about to go into a cold winter where they're having to ration gas and power and electricity, or that the Republicans gain control in the midterm elections and we start to lose appetite politically in this country for supporting Ukraine, because you're already hearing some movement from some of the Trump Republicans around that.
I think people overestimate those risks because when people look at it, ultimately, the thing that we all agree on is that we believe deeply in democracies and the idea of sovereignty. And what Europe has done over the course of the last several months as part of this war has taken a number of steps that have been important in order to make clear to Russia that they're going to pay a price for this invasion. I think the Europeans have done a better job than people expected in terms of taking steps to guarantee their energy security going into this winter, and their stores are more full than people expected, and the winter to date has been less cold. And what they've demonstrated is a willingness to do things that will create some pain for them, but in order to make sure that they're sending a clear message to Russia. For example, earlier this year, they stopped the purchase of Russian coal by Europe. They've stopped the purchase of oil.
Still getting less than 10% of gas, though.
And the reality for them is that they found alternative sources of that gas, including from LNG shipped from the United States. What I've heard from my European counterparts and what we expect from them is for them to continue taking steps. We're going to talk about how we put in place the price cap, but about how we take additional actions. And here in the United States, as you've seen over the course of this year, we've seen bipartisan majorities in both houses support packages for Ukraine, and we expect that to continue.